will assist you.
Welcome to This Week in the News on Zodiac with me, Sibongile Ziambo. Some of the main top stories we carried out in the week ending. President Chakwera opens 2021-2022 budget meeting of Parliament and laid Malawians in commemorating Kamuzu Day. Confusion within Muslims fraternity on the sighting of the moon to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Ministry of Health to destroy close to 20,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine next week. In sports, Malawi faces a $1 million fine if it fails to host Region 5 Olympic Games slated for December 2022. My name is Sibongile Ziambo. Thank you for joining me. We start with Parliament story. On Wednesday this week, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera opened the 2021-2022 budget meeting of Parliament with a promise to accelerate change in the country's fortunes. Chakwera said his government will soon introduce a budget that is aimed at recovering the economy from the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Chimwe was at Parliament and filed this report.
In his State of the National address titled Accelerating the Change Malawians Fought For, President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera hinted out a number of key areas under his administration. Central to these areas was wealth creation and ensuring food security among Malawians. These key areas, according to Dr. Chakwera, will extend to government ministries, including Ministry of Health, Education and Agriculture, just to mention but a few. The president said this resonates with the country's development pillar, Malawi 2063. Under the Ministry of Health, President Dr. Chakwera said his administration will digitalize the health system, while he says the Tonse administration plans to increase the enrollment rate of students in universities to 48,000 in the 2021-2022 national budget, which is under the Ministry of Education, including the construction of additional universities in Rumpi and Chikwawa districts. The president, under the energy sector, reviewed his administration will increase access to electricity among Malawians, mostly those in remote areas, through the Malawi Rural Electrification Program, MAREP, by increasing connectivity to 40,000 in the 2021-2022 national budget. The mining sector was another area that was included in the SONA, as President Chakwera reviewed that in the current sitting, members of parliament will have to deliberate on the Mining Authority Bill that is expected to be tabled in Parliament to see the full operationalization and regulation of mining activities. The recent decision of the Public Appointments Committee of Parliament not to approve Martha Jizuma as Director General for the Anti-Corruption Bureau, President Chakwera advised the members of Parliament to do away with politics on matters of national importance. For Zodiac, this is Chimwe Padata.
And there were mixed reactions from some quarters on the State of the Nation address that President Lazarus Chakwera made in the National Assembly when opening the 2021-2022 budget meeting. Deputy Ambassador of the European Union, Oleli Vata, commended President Chakwera for a SONA which provides plan for revival of the country's socio-economic development, wealth and job creation. And while leader of government business in the August House, Richard Chimwendo said the SONA showed political will by the Tonse government to spur development in line with people's wish, DPP's Bright Msaka said it was a repeat of the past SONAs with no achievements to showcase. Western Gouda filed this report.
President Lazarus Chakwera outlined achievements so far by the Tonse government as well as different initiatives that government will undertake in the next financial year. Commenting on the State of the National address titled Accelerating the Change That Malawians Fought For, the European Union Deputy Ambassador Aureli Vartat says the SONA has portrayed a socio-economic development plan which may spur economic growth and create wealth and jobs.
He's shown the extent of the work that has already been done and has been very detailed on what the next financial year's budget is going to include. But implementation is really key.
And leader of the government business in the Legislative Assembly, Richard Chimwendo has defended the SONA, adding it has demonstrated political will by the Tonse government to spur development in line with the people's wishes.
There is political will that we can move in the right direction. We are making progress.
However, Democratic Progressive Party's Brighton Saka says the SONA is actually a repeat of what the president said previously, adding that in contrast to the president's address, the country is in a mess and there is nothing to show on the ground.
We were expecting to hear new things that are going to be done. That in the 1 year we have been in government, we have created so many jobs to give us hope that there is some prospects of achievement, where it's only the words that are speaking, there are no deliverables. The president presented the SONA as the 2021-2022 National Budget Meeting of Parliament started. Reporting for Zodiac, this is Western Guta.
In the weekend, President Lazarus Chakwera led Malawians in commemorating Kamuzu Day with a vow that he will use his power to serve and not rule the people. 14 May is the official birthday of the country's first president, Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda. Activities marking the day were held at the Kamuzu Mausoleum in Nilongwe. Andrew Viano was there and filed this report.
President Lazarus Chakwera took advantage of this year's Kamuzu Day commemoration activities to caution the citizenry against backbiting and focus on work if the vision that the Tonse Alliance government has to develop the country is to be realized. He called on Malawians to emulate the good example of hard work and sacrifice that the founding father of this nation, late Dr. Hastings Kamuzu Banda, set in his 30-year rule. A representative of the Kamuzu family, Ken Kandodo, asked the government to consider constructing a library and museum at Kamuzu Mausoleum where people would learn more about the first president of this nation.
When Professor Bingwa Mutariga, may he so rest in peace, conceived this plan of the mausoleum, he did include another stage. The first stage was to build the mausoleum, which he did, and he opened on 14th May of 2006. But he did say that he wanted to have a museum here where memorabilia or things that Kamuzu was using, like his motor vehicles, the fly whisk and such things, to be exhibited here so that people can come and see how Kamuzu was like, how he was living.
Minister of Tourism, Wildlife and Culture, Dr. Michael Usi, said his ministry will consider the request.
We need the artifacts to support the story. We need somebody who is an orator that is going to speak, that is going to talk about Kamuzu, that is going to illuminate who Kamuzu was by both definition and meaning.
One of the individuals who worked so closely with late Kamuzu Banda and represented the leader of opposition in parliament during the commemoration this year, Nicholas Dausi, said the day is exceptional for Malawi as a nation.
We give respect and recognition to Kamuzu's great works. He was a man, an academic, a genius, a noble, a politician, a statesman, a philanthropist, and a great statesman. And I think as a country we have to sit back and say, thank God for giving us one of the greatest statesmen in the name of Hastings County.
Late Kamuzu Banda, who was given the title Ngwazi, died on November 25 in 1997 and ruled Malawi from 1964 to 1994.
On Wednesday, May 12, Malawi joined the International Nurses Day, and Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima acknowledged the need for the country to set up a national health policy for improved delivery of health services in the wake of the pandemics like COVID-19. Dr. Chilima observed that operations in the health sector have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic due to lack of sound policies on how to respond to health crises. National Council of Nurses and Midwives President Shouts Meza implored government to address challenges demoralizing nurses and midwives to deliver quality services in times of crisis, such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Grace Kombe with the details.
Vice President Dr. Saulos Chilima has pledged that the Tonse administration will ensure that all health workers are provided with necessary support and resources to improve delivery of health services. As such, the Vice President has acknowledged the need to invest adequate resources in the health sector, by, among others, having a clear national roadmap to guide operations and also improve the well-being of health workers such as nurses and midwives. According to Dr. Chilima, operations in the health sector have been affected with the advent of COVID-19 global pandemic, mainly due to lack of sound policies on how to respond to health crisis.
We don't have any time to relent, and we cannot give any excuses. All we must do is engage in transforming the healthcare delivery system and explore the necessary innovations. The seniority of the nurses and midwives should actually be addressed as a matter of agency, because we have paid lip service to this, I think, for too long.
National Council of Nurses and Midwives President Saulos Chilima has therefore called upon government to address existing challenges that are demotivating nurses and midwives to deliver quality services in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, such as low salaries and lack of personal protective equipment.
The theme is nurses, a voice to lead, a vision for future healthcare. It is both exciting, an honor, but also a tall order. We have challenges that we think there will be barriers in this arrangement. The first one is the national budget, is not giving substantial resources to the health sector. So it leaves a lot that the health sector is struggling, including in the fight against COVID-19.
Area Kamu Central Hospital Senior Nursing Officer Biri Sigunda revealed that the COVID-19 pandemic has paralyzed the health system, saying 504 nurses have contracted the deadly virus and 21 have succumbed to the pandemic.
We wanted more staff to be in the forefront to fight to work in the isolation centers. So it was different cadres with different experiences. Some were taken from home; they just graduated and they haven't been recruited. They were asked to come and help. So those people were saying that they did not have adequate knowledge.
This year's International Nurses Day has been commemorated under the theme, Nursing, a Voice to Lead, a Vision for Future Healthcare. This is Grace Kombe for Zodiac.
Still on Wednesday this week, a business magnate, Dr. Thompson Pinganjira, told the High Court in Blantyre that he will parade 3 witnesses to prove his innocence in the attempted judge bribery case he's answering. This came a day after High Court Judge Dorothy D. Gabriel threw out an application by Dr. Pinganjira for her to recuse herself from the judge's attempted bribery case he's answering, saying it lacked basis and was full of hearsays. Mpinganjila had alleged that the judge, together with High Court Judge President Sylvester Kalembera, had sought about 200 million kwacha from him to get a suspended sentence in the case. Patrice Nkhani is lawyer representing Dr. Mpinganjira.
I think in her ruling she said something like an application with ill intentions, and we obviously indicated to the judge we had no ill intention, but we think and we insist that given the information we had, given the evidence we had, it would have been extremely irresponsible on our part not to make that application. And I would be hard-pressed, I think, to think of a lawyer in my position having the information that I had, who would just decide I would just brush it off. I can't think of any lawyer who would do something like that and think that would be extremely irresponsible. She's made her decision. We respect it. It doesn't mean we agree with her. So we still maintain on our part we behaved reasonably. We had no ill intentions. We're simply trying to represent our client in the best way that we can. No more, no less.
And this was the take of Anti-Corruption Bureau's lawyer, Victoria Chiwala.
There was an application yesterday to do with the judge's recusal, but then the judge, having looked at the evidence, agreed with us that there was no evidence to support the application, so she refused to recuse herself, so the matter proceeded to defense. So Dr. Mpinganjira has today testified. Of course, you don't have to comment on matters that are in court, but for us, I think we've managed to cross-examine him, and we believe we have a good case as the state, and we trust that we're going to win the case. So next time they will call their other witnesses. They say they have 3, but we do not know. They may call other people as well. We just have to wait until 1st June.
What are you watching this week in the news? And we'll be right back shortly. Stand by.
Like every mom, you want the best for your child.
Happy birthday.
You feed her mind and nurture her body. You have to let her pick herself up when she falls. You make sure she knows the joy of sharing happy moments with family. And when everything comes together, you above all others will share the taste of success with her. Blue Band tastes like mama's love.
Sompenya amalawi watukula Malawi 2063 akale wozi mirabae kufika 2063 akale wokomera aliyense achinyamata tikwirane manja watukula Malawi achinyamata tikale patsogolo watukula Malawi wozi mirabae Malawi wokomera aliyense Malawi 2063 kusinda dziko lathu mokomera aliyense.
Tipolole kungonjezera ma units atNM kuyambira 200 kwacha kapena kuposera pamenepo mutha kukhala mmodzi mwa mamilioneya mu TNM Tipolole promotion. Koma mukaonjezera ma units ndi 100 kwacha kapena kuposerapo mudzilandira ma bonus oyimbira phone, SMS kapena data pompo.
TNM, always with you.
Building a successful business is not an easy task. It takes a lot of focus, hard work, persistence, determination, and sacrifices. With the passage of time, business growth is achieved to the amazement of the investor. After witnessing such growth, a strategic business person secures the business from risks that have the ability to ruin the investment. That is where the Prime Insurance Company comes in with a business insurance policy that targets small and medium enterprises. If you own a fuel service station, restaurant, lodge, clinic, farm, photography studio, retail or wholesale shop, you have an important partner in us. Without waiting for fate to strike on your investment, reach out to us at our offices in all the major cities of the country and get your business covered at affordable rates. Prime Insurance Company. We care and share in times of need.
Welcome back. The headlines as we continue the news. President Chakwera opens the 2021-2022 budget meeting of Parliament and laid Malawians in commemorating Kamuzu Day. Confusion within Muslim fraternity on the sighting of the moon to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Ministry of Health to destroy close to 20,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine next week, Wednesday. In sports, Malawi faces a $1 million fine if it fails to host Region 5 Olympic Games slated for December 2022. Moving on Thursday this week, confusion ensued within the Muslim fraternity on the sighting of the moon to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan, was some Muslims in Mangochi conducted Eid al-Fitr prayers marking the end of the month. The Muslim Association of Malawi insisted that the moon had not been sighted yet and the prayers were to be conducted on Friday. We had Rafael Nozoa from Mangochi.
Today here in Mangochi, some Muslims have marked the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Have conducted their Eid al-Fitr prayers. They are citing that the moon was sighted according to the teaching in the Holy Book of Quran. if anyone sights the moon elsewhere, that qualifies for them to break the fasting and celebrate after the month of Ramadan. So this is according to Sheikh Abubakar Rabson Ali. He is the Ulama Council of Malawi Mango Chapter Chair, the one who was part of those who were celebrating today to mark the end of this holy month of Ramadan. But according to the chair of the Muslim Association of Malawi in Mangochi, Sheikh Fahad Kamsuli, they are not part of these prayers. They will conduct their prayers tomorrow because they said they follow a local time. So according to them, locally, the moon has not been sighted. So maybe those that are marking the end of the holy month of Ramadan today, they are those that maybe follow the Saudi moon. So to them, they will be celebrating tomorrow. So I can say that there are two groups. I asked Sheikh Ansuri if this is not a confusion. Said it might be a confusion, yes, to some, but to those who understand how they follow these things, this is okay for them. Maybe those that follow the Saudi moon are okay to break the fast today, and them who follow the local moon, they are okay also to break the fasting tomorrow. So that's the situation, so to say.
Nonetheless, Muslims across the country marked the end of the holy month of Ramadan on Friday, with a call to be responsive to the needs of the less privileged. Noam Kobi gave us this report.
Muslims across the country joined the rest of the world to commemorate Eid Mubarak celebration, marking the end of Islamic one-month fasting. The day is characterized with prayers, merrymaking, and charity works. Vice Treasurer of Muslim Association of Malawi Kasungu Chapter, Abdul Hassan, says Muslims should take advantage of the celebration to minister to the needs of the less privileged. Speaking at Santa Mosque during a worship service, Hassan said Islam teaches love, peace, and care to all humanity. Sheikh Muhammad Halid of Santa Mosque urged Muslims in the country to promote peace and fear God even after breaking the fast.
Njendi ku apempha azislamu onse amene akundimvera pa nthawi ino kunena kuti zimene timapanga mwezi umene wa Ramadhani tiyenera kupitiliza mpaka na nthawi yonse imene kutani ikubwera. Tisasiye mwezi uno wokha iyayi, koma tipitilize kupanga zinthu zabwino asilamu ndi achisoni komanso ndi achikondi chimene zimene timapanga mwezi uno tipitilize mpaka na kusogolo kwishana.
For Zodiac, this is Noor Nkubwi, Sante Kasungu.
In the week ending, Principal Secretary and the Minister of Health, Dr. Charles Mwansambo, told us that they have set Wednesday, May 19th, as a day to incinerate close to 20,000 doses of expired COVID-19 AstraZeneca vaccine. Dr. Mwansambo said the number of expired vaccines has risen from the initial 16,000 following a physical count that was conducted on all expired doses. Chumembarata filed this report.
19,610 doses are those that are to be incinerated after the Ministry of Health collected all expired doses from all the districts. The doses were part of 102,000 jabs the country received from the African Union. They had, however, a short lifespan of only 2 weeks. 2% of these jabs are those that were administered. Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Charles Mwansambo, told us the number of expired jabs has risen after the Ministry of Health conducted a physical count on all expired doses.
19,610 doses. This is after we've checked what was given and what has what was collected from the district. So these are the ones that we are incinerating on Wednesday. What we provided earlier was what was in the papers, but when we went out to physically collect, that this is the actual amount that we are incinerating.
A health rights activist, Maziko Mademba, feels the decision will boost the trust of Malawians on safety of the vaccines.
So I'm hoping this will help in future that we don't destroy vaccines, but we encourage more people to get vaccinated. Because that's also a effective vaccine.
Ministry of Health delayed incineration of the jabs as it was awaiting clearance from the Office of the Public Procurement and Dispose of Assets, PPDA. For Zodiac, This is Chimwemwe Padata.
On Wednesday this week ending, the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament was asked to furnish the House with a comprehensive report on the assessment of Martha Chizuma appointment as Anti-Corruption Bureau new Director General. Leader of the House, Richard Banda, said there is a general feeling that the committee erred in the way it handled the confirmation of Chizuma as ACB boss. Meanwhile, a group of civil society organizations vented its anger on Parliament's Public Appointments Committee PAC's decision to reject Martha Chizuma as Anti-Corruption Bureau Director General, describing this as an insult to the Gender Equality Act. Sambanda reports.
The civil society organizations say Chizuma is the right choice for the post after her stellar performance as ombudsman, hence the National Assembly's decision to renew her contract when it expired recently. They feel she has been rejected under the influence of political interference after she committed herself to finishing off a backlog of corrupt cases that have stalled for so long. Meanwhile, the CSOs have come up with a number of resolutions that include a demand for interviews for higher public offices to be done openly with access to coverage for local media for the general public to follow and give their own opinions. Edward Chileka Banda chairs the Citizen Alliance.
As civil society, we have lost trust in the current Public Accounts Committee, and we are demanding that this committee should be reconstituted, and I think it cannot handle national matters in this way. We are also bemoaning the attendance of Public Appointments Committee, the way they treated these interviews, by scoring a professional career woman like Martha Chizuma 1 out of 25. And we get reports that even some members of parliament of this committee walked into the interview room just the last 5 minutes and still scored her 1 out of 25. We think that is an insult to the intelligence of many the Malawians, and I think we are calling for a dissolution of this particular committee.
NGO Gender Coordinating Network Executive Director Barbara Banda described Martha Chizuma's rejection as an insult to the empowerment of the Gender Equality Act, which seeks to promote capable women.
It's very retrogressive. For example, we have been calling for the implementation of the Gender Equality Act. Previously, we had that we were being asked, where are the women? And we are saying, here is the woman who is qualified. And Parliament rejects that woman. So we believe this is a gender card that is being played. And it is a process that is taking this country back by not respecting the laws that the same Parliament did establish. So for us, we are saying this whole process is smelling of some underhand. We want to know exactly why we are at this point, what has caused the result that we are seeing.
The rejection of Martha Chizuma as Anti-Corruption Bureau Director General came barely a day after she nullified recruitments of some Macra top officials, saying they flouted procedures.
In business news, the local tobacco industry received a boost with the coming in of a new company from Serbia to start buying the leaf this selling season. Briefing journalists in Ilongo on Friday, Tobacco Commission TC Chief Executive Officer Dr. Shidanti Malunga said the Malawi Investment Trade Center is finalizing paperwork for the new company to start buying tobacco. The tobacco industry chairperson from Serbia said the company is set to buy Burley Tobacco. Grace Kombe with more.
Tobacco Commission Chief Executive Officer Dr. Joseph Chidanti Malunga is optimistic that the coming of the new company from Serbia will enhance competition among tobacco buyers, which will in turn improve the industry. Dr. Malunga said the officials from the company tobacco industry of Bojanovac have been in the country for the past 4 days and have been discussing with various stakeholders in the industry on their intention to start buying tobacco in this selling season. He told journalists in Ilongo on Friday that Malawi Investment Trade Center is currently finalizing all the paperwork to allow the company start buying tobacco in the country's auction floors.
Right from the first day we opened the market on 20th, we have seen a lot of rejection. And this is coming in particular on the auction side. And the major reason is that there's no competition, very little competition on the auction. So all the buyers are buying their own tobacco on the contract, and on the auction, there's very little competition.
Tobacco industry of Bojanovac chairperson Dragan Stankovic said the company is interested in berry tobacco and is said to start buying the commodity in this selling season. As long-term investment, Stankovic says the company will set up a tobacco plant in the country where they'll be producing cigarettes and export them to Europe.
Definitely in Europe, in most of the countries, the high taxation is applying on the cigarette products. Therefore, there are high prices. That's why we are looking forward to find the competitive raw materials so we can be competitive on the market. This is our reason why we came also to Malawi, because Malawi has a good quality of various tobacco, and also we can compete with better pricing raw material.
This development comes as tobacco industry is grappling with higher tobacco rejection rate in the country's auction floors, which is frustrating farmers. For Zodiac, this is Grace Combe.
In sports news, Malawi could be fined close to $1 million if it fails to host the Region 5 Games slated for December 2022 in Lilongwe. Zodiac had information that the Region 5 Games organizing committee has written the country's Ministry of Sports inquiring on the status of hosting of games in Malawi and also warning them of the dangers of failing to host the games. However, we have it in authority that the ministry is working towards the commencement of the construction of the Olympic-sized swimming pool and has since reduced the cost of the building facility. Brad Kanyama filed this report.
Malawi was selected to host the 2022 Region 5 Games, and preparations have since started with the construction of second venue for the Games, the Griffin Sayenda Indoor Sports Complex near Bingu National Stadium in Lilongwe. However, the construction of the main venue at Kamuzu Institute for Sports in Lilongwe is yet to take shape. Meanwhile, the construction of an Olympic-sized swimming pool stirred debate regarding its cost, as it was costing over 9 billion kwacha. Zodiac understands that the Ministry of Sports is still working towards the commencement of the construction of the swimming pool at Kamuzu Institute for Sports, and the latest figures that the ministry will submit to OPC are showing that the budget has been reduced by nearly 2 billion kwacha, as it will now cost over 7 billion kwacha. Region 5 Games Organizing Committee had wrote the country inquiring on the status of the hosting of the games in the country. The committee has also warned the country that it will be fined close to $1 million, approximately 750 million kwacha, if it fails to host the games slated for December 2022. The games are held between member countries on rotational basis, and 2022 edition will be Malawi's 10. The country is expected to host almost the entire Southern Africa in various games involving under-20 athletes. For Zodiac, this is Bright Kanyama.
That's what we had time for in this edition of This Week in the News. Another look at the headlines. President Chakwera opens the 2021-2022 budget meeting of Parliament and led Malawians in commemorating Kamuzu Day. Confusion within Muslim fraternity on the sighting of the moon to mark the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Minister of Health to destroy close to 20,000 doses of AstraZeneca vaccine next week, Wednesday. In sports, Malawi faces a $1 million fine if it fails to host Region 5 Olympic Games slated for December 2022. Visit our website for more news. COVID-19 vaccination is underway in the country. Make a decision, protect yourself and protect those around you. This is Sibongile Ziambo. Goodbye.